is a safe space. Here we go. I'm talking into a camera finally. It's been a while. Not the longest, but it's been a while. Man, I just want to start again. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how I'm gonna say things. I'm just not used to filming regularly. I usually avoid this. Back in therapy. This my anxiety is killing me. THERAPY. We're back in therapy. Yeah, I've just been struggling a bit, you could say. I have done therapeutic things in the time that I was away from therapy, but it was kind of different stuff, energy healing stuff, which is kind of similar to probably what I'm doing now too, but it just wasn't even in person and it wasn't as active, I guess. Like I'm not doing, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. My friend does therapy stuff. It's probably similar to something called, I think it's called somatic healing or something, but I don't even know what it is. I don't even care. I just know it's good shit and it's helping me. I did my first session yesterday, I want to say. Yeah, yesterday. And I've already started doing some of the stuff. So I guess I'll do a little bit of a recap of what's been going on. First of all, my mental health issues have been so much worse in the past that I thought kind of to a certain extent what I was going through was just somewhat normal, or just how I was, just what I was gonna have to deal with, because I just am of the personality and genetics that I'm very prone to anxiety and stress, and because it was more general stresses, you could say, then again it's not. There's still so much deep shit, still trauma to uncover and heal, just peeling back more layers of that onion. Just when you think you've healed most of your shit, a bunch more comes a flailing out of Pandora's box. And yeah, it's not fun getting triggered a lot of the time. So I guess I was at a point where I had just hit a threshold where every little thing was setting me off, like putting me into total stress mode, anxiety attack mode. I wouldn't call it a panic attack. I know what a full-on panic attack feels like. It's not a panic attack, but it's just like a state of just overwhelm and stress, to the point where I feel like I just can't really focus or do anything because I'm just so stressed about everything. Like I'm like, okay, and then I just want to distract myself and not accomplish anything meaningful because it's all overwhelming me and stressing me out. And then I feel it in my chest. I have this tightness in my chest and it's not a pleasant feeling. But again, like I've just been through so much worse. Like I've had like back in my high school days, I was having just like rolling panic attacks, you know, every other moment almost, it felt like. So it's not anywhere near that. So then I was like, oh, we're fine. This is just normal stress. This is just like, you know, daily stuff that people deal with. But it was hitting these just intense modes of, then I like was just out of breath and just couldn't even get anything done, and it just was affecting my life very drastically to where, yeah, I was just really, still am, you know, to a certain extent. It's only been a day since my first day of therapy, and even say that I'm like, I'm a whole new person, I get shit done. But, you know, I still just probably took like 2 hours unnecessarily to eat just so I could watch more TV and waste time and avoid doing this video. But here we are. You know, this whole thing's probably going to be jumbled and all over the place as per usual. But being the perfectionist I am, I just think I need to just sit in front of the camera and just talk and not try to overly plan every single thing. Not that I even really do that, but I try to do that and then it gets too complicated and I can't execute the project because it's too complicated at that point. Like I was gonna do this video yesterday and I was playing around with these drums. I was like, oh, I should do like a little like improv song or something. And then that idea just sort of grew and grew to the point where I want to arrange a whole song about getting back into therapy. And that's just a longer type of project. And that sort of caused me to just avoid this simple sitting down in front of the camera, raw sort of thing. I might edit this video because I feel like it's gonna be painfully all over the place. Anyways, here we are. Already lost what the heck I was talking about there. But yeah, I guess what brought me back to therapy, yeah, just stress, just hitting a point where what really changed as well was just this frustration of not accomplishing what I want to accomplish. And then I'll blame it on everything else, and it's just not true. I'll be like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time for music. I don't have time to do my videos in my YouTube channel. And in a certain way, that was somewhat true with the other YouTube channel I do. It's a lot of posting, a lot daily. Like, it does take a lot out of me editing wise, and then I feel like I can't focus on other things and this and that and whatever. But then when we took that away, we're on a break now. It's been like probably 2 weeks, and have I done much? No, I really haven't done that much. I have worked on a song project here and there and have gotten some of that done, but it's not done. And I tend to start projects and not finish them. And like the amount of time I could have put into it versus the time I actually put into it was just insane. Like having these 2 weeks off the main channel, like I could have been working on that thing all the time. So what's stopping me? It all seems to still come back to these major beliefs within me and mental blocks. As much as I thought I had worked on that, I was doing some healing stuff with that, but it wasn't as much active on my part. You know, it helped in the moment or for a bit, but like those blocks are still there. They're not cleared, they're not healed. So I have to be the one to really work on those and do shit for myself. So my first session went really well. I realized a lot of things that I was doing to myself that I was somewhat aware of, but really didn't realize the impact of it all. Just being self-deprecating, being hard on myself, just being down on myself a lot of the time. Not celebrating myself is what she calls it. Like celebrating my successes or things like that. Like it's so negative up in here. It's like, yeah, there's nothing to celebrate. It's nothing to be proud of. I've done shit all. Like, it usually just comes back to like, it's never good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not good enough. Don't we all love that one? Don't we all probably possess that to a certain extent? And if you have done work on healing that, I'm sure from time to time again, it just tends to pop up. It's just us as humans, I think we're just so prone to that main belief. Just the world we live in, society, it's kind of designed around, well, competition, biologically speaking as well. Just you feel in competition with others, with yourself, just with everything. So it's like, yeah, it's so easy to compare yourself and then feel like you're not enough. And well, yeah, with music, I'm comparing myself all the time to other artists and other songs that are produced and other whatever song arrangements, or like I'm learning a whole new thing of how to record and mix my own music. And I'm just can get really in my head about it where I'm like, oh, is that okay to do though? Like, shouldn't I have drums somewhere in this song? Like, is it not okay to not have any drums in this arrangement? Like, yeah, I'm just overthinking everything. And my therapist was saying, this was when I was venting all about how the recording's like so complicated or this and that, or I don't know what to do and all these things, and or just having struggles with like the technical stuff. And she was like, I don't think it's really the recording or that shit really necessarily. Like, it's my trauma within me that has to negatively impact just about every different aspect of my life. Even normal day-to-day shit like cleaning a house, which I avoid because I'm scared of failure, I guess. Like, I don't know, there was just these experiences I dealt with as a kid where there wasn't much structure, and it was like, hey Alyssa, you're cleaning the kitchen. It had been like 2 weeks straight, no one had done a single dish, and I go and pick up a glass of what had originally been milk, and it had turned into a cheese-like consistency and smelled like a poopy diaper. And I was told, you're not going anywhere or doing anything until this kitchen gets cleaned. And the feelings that came over me as I don't know how old I was. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Could have been a teenager at that point. I don't remember. I don't know. But the feelings that came over me were dread, anxiety, hopelessness, like just from that one little thing. And that's what kind of gets triggered a lot of times when I feel like I have to clean. When I look at a completely messy room, having the idea of cleaning it, that emotional shit spurs itself up, and then I go, how about we don't clean it and we put on The Bachelor and we get a hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars and stuff our face till we feel like barfing so that we don't have to think about our failures. So I'm tired of doing that shit, but I still need to not punish myself for those moments that I take that choice, that avenue to avoid and distract and not accomplish something. I'm very much learning it is a lot about how I feel about these situations that create the reality or my reality of the situation, which like it's all stuff and concepts and themes I've known of, but what tends to happen when I am in therapy and these things get brought up, like you think it's something, it's gonna take a lot to fix the programming in your complicated brain, but it always seems to come back to very simplistic things. Not easy to do, but like very simple. Calming your mind, I think what needs to be done is simple, but it's not fucking easy. Just take meditation, for example. It's like, just focus on your breath. Just tune to that and focus on your breath. I remember back years ago, I guess maybe when I was a teenager or whatever, I felt so fucked up and broken, and just my brain was horribly wired. And I remember going to counselor after counselor after counselor. Like this one counselor was getting me to do mindfulness stuff, and I remember thinking,
she doesn't understand. She doesn't know my issues. Like, I have a very specific phobia. I bet she's never treated anyone with like this certain phobia I have. She doesn't fucking get me.
And yes, there were some counselors where like personality wise it didn't like click as much, or like if they didn't have their own experience of anxiety and things like that, like I did really feel like they didn't get it or understand. But the things offered in and of themselves, like I would take that as like,
oh, that's just such too simple, but like that's supposed to help. Focusing on my just breath like that, like that's gonna fix it.
And yeah, that alone doesn't really fix everything, or it's one technique. But the main thing that I'm doing now is sitting with my feelings, but actually sitting with them with non-judgment, because I've heard of these concepts in meditation, and I would be like,
I sat with it, I'm sitting with it like
but I'm still being like, this is horrible, I hate this feeling, I want it to go away. I'm still resisting it, and what we resist persists. It's very true. Yeah, it's tough to just sit with it, really, and not distract, or just be like, okay, I sat with it, and then go distract right away. Like, that's not giving that feeling the space. So the therapy that I'm doing is a lot of that, a lot of like inner child work. Like I have to tap into my body, feel into it and what's really going on, and ask myself, what do I need from me? And some of those things are validation. I need to validate myself. I need love. I need, like, everything that I try to get externally is what I need from myself. Yeah. What I've noticed with the tuning into my body and just sitting, going in, tuning inward to like what's going on in my body, what am I feeling? I'm so much in my head. That's what my therapist is saying. Like you're like a lot, like all pretty much up here, which I feel like I've always been that way. But I've been really trying to tune into my body, and I've really just been noticing that tightness feeling in my chest that I get when I'm feeling like really, really overwhelmed. Like it's there with things that I didn't know it was there. Like it's an underlying type of thing. I don't think it's always constantly there, but even when it was more subtle, I wasn't noticing it because I was all, up here in my head or distracting myself, like not tuning into my body. So what I'm trying to do is tune into that and then asking myself, like, what do I need? What do I need from me? Like maybe I need to take some deep breaths. Maybe I need to comfort that inner child. Like what is that feeling? What is that trauma? Like is that, well, you don't need to try to make sense of it all because that's a lot of thinking, but you just sort of tune in and you ask questions about it though. She said, one of the main things she said, question everything. So I was just out doing some errands, which I don't normally do. I usually avoid them for reasons. Some I'm aware of, some I guess not as much. In my session, I was like, yeah, I am aware of a lot of why I'm doing things, but I don't know how to deal with it. And I was like claiming that I do have a lot of awareness, but there's obviously still deeper layers that I'm not fully aware of why, or I don't give myself like the space to go there. I just go, I don't want to go out. I don't want to, it's stressful. Like it's kind of like a general stressful thing. I get overwhelmed. And then I think like, well, there's nothing I can really feel like there's not much I can do about it. Like now I have these tools that I can actively apply and do, and not to rely on other people, like not to
What is codependency?
only go out and get certain errands done or certain things done like with my partner. Like I can go out on my own. I'm a beginner. And if I'm feeling anxious or a certain way, I can do my self-soothing. I can do my deep breaths.
You can do it. I know you can.
Like one self-soothing thing like she does is she just like rubs her chest here, or like some people put their hand on their heart or something, or like this, or it's like a comforting thing. And because my love language is physical touch, like this is very comforting to me. Like I really didn't realize all these things that I could be doing for myself. So just sitting with those feelings, giving myself a hug, visualizing, say, my higher self, or me hugging that inner child is really comforting and is actually making a difference. And it's a simple thing. It's not some crazy complicated thing. Sometimes you think,
Well, what's it gonna do?
it does make a difference. It does. And I didn't realize to the extent that these stressors go and that I can actually do something about it. I thought I just had to deal with it. Like the amount of stressful situations and interactions that happen just doing basic things, just going out and doing errands. And like I know driving is like stressful for me. Just I go to park my car and I'm like overthinking everything. I'm like, oh, am I parked too close to this car? Am I not? And the car beside me, some guy was in there. The car was on and he was like waiting for someone in there. And he just started like glaring at me. I was like, is he glaring at me because he's like,
why would you park so close? Get the fuck out of here.
And then I'm like, and then all these external things affect my own decisions and how I act because I'm so uncomfortable by the feelings. I want to avoid those feelings, and then I just like drive away to a different spot because I don't want to like deal with that tension or awkwardness or whatever. But a lot of those little things, like, yeah, I don't know, I get a lot of resentment and frustration when I make decisions based on how other people are going to react, not on based on what I actually want. But it's like, it's so difficult because what I want to do causes so much discomfort because it can cause guilt or whatever. But then when I just people please or whatever, I then get upset because then I didn't do what I wanted, or I spent my time, doing something to make someone else happy and it wasn't necessarily what I want to do. And so yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's gonna take a little while, obviously, but I feel like I have a good start and I just need to keep on it. And seeing someone regularly helping to guide me through this stuff is gonna be really beneficial and is gonna change my life for the better. One of the things she suggested, I think she meant music-wise initially, because I hadn't told her that I had like my own YouTube channel yet. I think like she was like, what if you recorded your journey? Like what if you had a goal of just like maybe 5 minutes a day, you like sit down and record something. And then I suggested like, oh, maybe that could be YouTube videos. Like I could just sit and talk or something like that. Or I could do a music thing. Something.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's my... I'm real burpy. Not gonna lie, I did stuff my face. It's so habitual for me to judge my thoughts and judge myself, and then I'm in denial that it's a judgment. Like I have that's a whole nother fucking video with the food shit. There's so much judgment there. There's so much control and obsession and judgment, and it's a whole thing. Anyways, I'll tell you my homework for this week that I was supposed to do. I had to write out, what do you need from you? I had to answer that. So I started filling that out. And like at first I wasn't really sure, like,
What does that even mean? What do I need from me? Like what?
and then, you know, sitting with the feelings and just becoming more mindful of what's going on in my body, and then thinking of that question more and more. All this shit just started coming out. I was like,
Oh, I get it.
I need kindness, non-judgment, encouragement, validation, all from me. I need kindness from me. I need non-judgment from me. Like everything that I was projecting on other people, everything that I was thinking, I need this from other people, I need it from myself. Empathy, to not punish me, to not put me down, to not diminish my efforts or accomplishments, to take care of me, to give me space to let me feel my feelings,
To breathe deeply, to nurture me, respect, forgiveness, love, patience, to listen, to not label me.
to fill me with nutrients, but again, to not judge me if I don't.
Comfort, care, acceptance, safety.
Celebration, I need to celebrate myself. Understanding, positivity, to be held, because that came up in our session. We had to go through sort of experience, do the whole sitting with that feeling, and she said, what do you need from me? Do you need to be held? Do you need, like, she's like, we can comfort ourselves by like just, you know, this stuff. Like I don't think to do that.
I probably thought it was silly to do that.
We do those things, like I think automatically in situations that we feel uncomfortable. Like I obviously find myself like, you know, fidgeting or doing whatever. But if you're feeling like stressed and there's nothing you can do about it, you can actively start just like, you know, giving yourself a hug, or whatever, all different things that help, you know, essential oils, self-care, all that jazz. What else do I need? For my intuition to be taken seriously. To not like shut myself down, not shut down my intuition. I'm always like blaming other people for all these things, but I do it to myself. Yep, to let my intuition guide my life. Okay, so that was my list. So that was the question I needed to answer. And then the tuning into my body and taking space to sit with those feelings. So I'm sitting with those feelings and taking like deep breaths and just giving that feeling space. And now that I've written out the answers to that question, what do you need from you? I'm trying to give that feeling, or just give myself in general these things that I expressed, like comfort, care, acceptance, non-judgment. It just sort of clicked even just when I had written those things down. Like I've done a lot of work already, so it's sort of just in some ways just applying that stuff. Like at least I'm not at the point where it's like I can't accept myself, I don't know how, I don't know what that feels like, how do I do that? Like I've actually been there, I know what it is, but I never continued with it, or like in daily life, like I maybe accepted certain situations in my life or whatever I did, but I'm not actively doing these things. And then, you know, I felt good for a while, but then like I stopped doing different exercises. And then I started to, I wanted to say like revert back, but what I've learned is you can't ever actually really take steps like back, like what you've gained and learned, and it doesn't go away. But like, yeah, you can sort of relapse, obviously, you know, in a pattern. Those negative paths in the brain can, you know, start to rewire or build I didn't fully rewire my brain. So that all that stuff, it was pretty easy to slip back into that. Like I tend to find doing the work difficult, or I feel that way about it, and so then I don't do the work. Now I'm digging into like why I don't do the work in and of itself. And now instead of feeling like I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to, like that just sounds like
stressful.
It's a very pressuring, like, we don't like being told what to do. Say someone was talking to me that way, being like,
Alyssa, you have to do this. You have to.
Oh, I hated that shit.
you know, end of the world, like, you have to do this, and if you don't, like,
Oh my god, and this is gonna happen.
I'm trying to reframe that to, like, I'm gonna allow myself to do this thing, to whatever. And this whole tangent of what I was getting to was, I'm going to allow myself to sit with those feelings, like when I feel like, oh, I want to do the work, but that's so overwhelming and stressful, like, oh, I don't want to do it, like, I don't have to do the work at all. I just have to sit there and tune in, and that's literally the work. That is the work now. It's more of a relief, like, now when it's like,
I'm so overwhelmed to record music or do this project, I'm so, oh, I can't do that, and then avoid it, like,
perfect, you're overwhelmed, sit with that feeling and tune into that. And to me, that it gets me a step towards actually doing the recording. Like, yeah, I might not do any recording that day, and I might just sit in the recording room and feel all stressed out and unsure of myself and not enough and whatever, and sit with that shit. But eventually I will pick up the mic and start recording, because I will have, like, given those feelings space, and comforted myself and been like, it's okay, you can do this, and it's all right. So yeah, this is all really life-changing shit for me. And it all comes together because I've been having different synchronicities. I happen to be watching some random reality show, and these certain things and themes will come up, like a specific concept or statement my therapist says that resonates, and then it comes up again, like pretty much the exact same thing in a show, like the next day, or podcast, or like, it's, these messages I'm getting are so meaningful and important, and it's cool how it just sort of lines up. Anyways, love you guys, and yeah, I just hope me sharing what I'm going through maybe helps someone. So anyways, we shall see you in the next video. Have an amazing, wonderful day, and don't forget to celebrate yourself. Yay, I'm celebrating myself for filming this video, and I will celebrate myself once I've edited it. Okay, that's not working. Okay, we're good. Okay, bye.